right, ladies and gentlemen, in this quick video, I'm going to show you how to add text and titles to your Google site. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out of our title screen here and close off that because we don't need the video. All right. So this is very simple. The first thing you're going to need to do is open up your Google Drive. I've shown you guys how to do this several times over, so hopefully you know how to get into your Drive. By now, you should have a folder that you have created in your Drive called Writing Portfolio, and inside of that portfolio folder, you should have all of the documents that you are adding to your website as we move through this assignment and project. So along with that, you should also have a copy of your website. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my website by locating it in my folder and then double clicking on it. So there we go. And I actually already had it open. So now I'm on my personal narrative page because this is one of the ones that I'm currently working on editing. And you'll see that if you haven't added much to yours, that this actually has quite a bit going on. I've added all of the documents that I'm supposed to have so far, including a set of the directions. Because I have two separate classes, I have two separate sets here so that you guys didn't get too confused by seeing somebody else's directions up there. And then I've got a copy of my brainstorming, my list of 30 I believe statements, the first draft or rough draft of my I believe essay. In this case, I borrowed somebody else's because I didn't actually write my own. So thank you to Bree for loaning me her essay for our example. And thank you to Rob for loaning me his peer editing sheet that I've also added here. Eventually, we're going to be adding some other documents in here as well, including your final draft of your essay. So I'm going to come back up here to the top because what I'm going to show you is that I want to add a text box and I want to resize a text box so that I can properly label these two documents up here so that when you or other people are coming to the site, you actually understand what you're looking at. Okay. Some other things that you're supposed to be adding include a paragraph to your personal narrative page that gives an explanation of what the original purpose of your assignment was, who your intended audience is, and maybe show off something that you're proud of. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add a text box. So I'm going to click on text box under insert, and you see it adds a random text box for me. Now, this isn't in the place that I want it to be. I actually want it to be above these documents up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to locate this thing that looks like two lines made out of dots, or to go along with my food metaphors, maybe a dozen eggs. So I'm going to click on that, which then gives me the crosshairs, and I can now drag and drop that wherever I want it on the page. And as you can see, it gives me a blue line to kind of tell me where it's going to be. So if I let go here, it'll go fully across my page. But in this case, I'm going to want to add it above one of these two documents. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that so that the bar now looks like it's across just the one. And now that text box is across this top, and I can go ahead and add a note as to what this is. So I'm going to say this is my so it's my ungrouped English 4 instructions. So as you can see, this says that ungrouped is not really a word, so maybe I should hyphenate that, even though that's the terminology we typically use. So if this is not the size or text kind of style I want, there are a few things I can now do to change that. So for example, it's all the way over here flush to the left-hand margin, and maybe I want to make that centered to make it look prettier. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to select which way I want it to be. So I'm going to say centered because then it like hovers right over the middle. And maybe it's not the size I want. So I can play with these and say, ooh, that's too big. Maybe that's in a weird cursive. I don't really like that. Maybe that's good because it matches the other ones in class. All right, so once I have it the way I want it, I can leave that alone. But let's say I dropped it and it went across the whole page, or I just started editing from there. And now I want to move that over here. So what I can do is I can either resize that by clicking on it and getting the dots on the side and putting my cursor over it and resizing it to the size I want. Or I can again pick it up and then click it back to where I want it to be. So as you can see, my text doesn't match. And I like things to look kind of matchy-matchy. So since everything else is in this style, I'm going to go ahead and change this one so that it's in the right style as well. So you'll see when I click on this one time, I get a little trash can pop up here, and the blue outline goes all the way around, not just my text box, but my essay too. So if I actually hit the trash can, it's going to throw away not just my text box, but my document I included. So I don't want that. So I'm going to click it one more time. That way it only highlights the text box, okay? And then I'm going to change mine from subheading to, I think it was under heading. There we go. So now they're matching pretty well. If I want it to be over here, so it looks like this one, maybe I'm going to change that to say, so I changed that to say Miss Kale's and Miss Narduzzi's, I believe, instructions. So that way they look pretty similar. Alrighty. If you have any questions or anything, please make sure you ask. And don't forget that if you want your teachers to see the changes you've made, you need to make sure you hit publish.